The Commodore Amiga era, from 1991 to 1994. The machine that captured my heart forever. Commodore Amiga. Let me explain why this great machine has won first place in my heart. The Amiga was more than just a line of personal computers made by Commodore between 1985 and 1994. It was a revolution, a machine that felt almost magical for its time. In the fast-growing world of 1980s technology, the Amiga shone brightly, powered by impressive 16-bit processors, generous memory, and graphics and sound capabilities that seemed light years ahead of the older 8-bit machines, Atari ST and Macintosh. It could bring smooth, vibrant animations to life, play audio that felt rich and breathtaking, and juggle several tasks effortlessly thanks to its elegant operating system, Amiga OS, and its friendly desktop environment, Workbench. For artists, musicians, and dreamers, the Amiga became a beloved creative companion. It sparked the birth of early music trackers, inspiring an entire generation of digital musicians. It also became home to groundbreaking 3D animation tools like Lightwave 3D and Imagine, software that would go on to influence the future of animation and visual effects. The Amiga wasn't just a computer. It was a window into new worlds, a machine that felt alive with possibility. My Amiga Epic Game. The Amiga was magic, not just a machine, but a universe in a beige box. It defined an era of experimentation, creativity, and courage. No cinematic budgets, no online patches, just vision and heart. Myth. History in the making. This was the very first game I played on the Amiga platform. As a home gaming experience, moving from handheld games to this was a huge step. I couldn't believe how suspenseful the introduction was. So mystical, so intoxicating, absolutely breathtaking. The game itself was extremely captivating. An epic adventure in a platform model through mythical eras, facing classic monsters that filled our imagination. Phenomenal. Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights was one of the platform games I played at the beginning of the Amiga era, with the best music. In fact, all the splendor and impact of Amiga games was largely due to the extremely expressive sound component. As with almost all platform games, I never managed to reach the end, but I have fond memories of playing it, as it really cheered me up. Rodland. Rodland is one of those games that can be considered the cutest ever, at least for me, of course. Unicorns, fairies, and wonderful sounds with catchy music made my heart beat with joy. Apedia. If we look into what fans were saying about Apedia back then, the reviews couldn't be better. Just Google it, and the phrases we read are usually something like this. Gameplay is of an incredibly high standard. Apedia was probably the greatest and most original shoot-'em-up on the Amiga. What made Apedia really stand out at the time was the decision to have the user control a flying wasp, and the initial setting being in the depth of nature, gardens, ponds, sewers. Apedia is a game that will appeal to anyone who appreciates a good old-fashioned shoot-'em-up. Within the Amiga's vast library of shooters, Apedia stands as one of the best, if not the very best. Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasies. Starting with Pinball Dreams. Although it had 4 pinball tables, I only really liked one, Space, but I adored the other one, Nightmare. The brilliantly composed music by the incredible Olaf Gustafsson gave an ultra-mystical touch to the table, which was ideal for playing at any time in the fall or winter. To be honest, I was never one to play pinball strategically. I just enjoyed watching the physics of the ball, which were very well simulated by the way, and prayed that I would last as long as possible. Now, in the comfort of our own home, playing this game with the family was a delightful experience, as there was always that excitement of a friendly mini competition for the highest score. Pinball Fantasies. Pinball Fantasies also had 4 tables with different themes. I was simply enchanted playing one of them. Partyland! How wonderful! All the icons related to the circus, the fairground, childhood, clowns, sweets, and the magic that surrounded it all. It was all there. Brilliant graphics, music, and sound effects. No pinball machine in any arcade has ever enchanted me to this extent. And practically the entire legion of Amiga fans unanimously idolize this epic game. Moonstone. With a presentation like this, for a 17-year-old boy who was at the height of his mystical awakening, having started drawing 2 years earlier, following as models the illustrations of the Fantastic Adventures books by Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson, it is obvious that I immediately fell in love with the game. Moonstone: A Hard Day's Night is an action role-playing video game developed in 1991 for Amiga. The player takes on the role of a chosen knight who is sent by druids to return the mystical Moonstone to Stonehenge. The goal of the game is to find the lair that holds one of the 4 keys to the game. Once the player gets them all, 4 will have access to the Valley of the Gods in the center of the map. There, you will have to face the Guardian so that you can get a lunar stone. That object corresponds to a random lunar phase, during which the knight becomes more powerful and must be brought back to Stonehenge to complete the game. It is also one of those games that stays in your memory because it is so rich in mysticism. I will play it again soon, as I never finished it. In 1979, a game was released that became a worldwide phenomenon, called Asteroids. It was a multi-directional shooter that used inertia as a simulator, putting us in serious difficulty, as if we were in outer space driving a poor spaceship among asteroids. Back then, this was state-of-the-art. Now imagine that a few years later, some creative minds from the Finnish developer Bloodhouse, who were programming for Amiga, decided to demonstrate the power of Amiga PCs, both in terms of image and sound. And so, a spiritual successor to Asteroids is born. Stardust. I don't think I need to say anything else. Your eyes see the same thing I see. Your ears hear the same thing I hear. Until 1993, no one had ever seen such amazing graphics on a home PC. Absolutely mind-blowing. I found it difficult to orientate myself with the direction of the ship, as all propulsion was based on inertia. So when the ship left the screen, I was completely confused. Congratulations to the Finnish team. This game was, is, and will always be a grand epic and a superb legacy of the power of Commodore Amiga PCs. The musical mastery in the very techno composition, brilliantly achieved, put us in a state of euphoria where we simply couldn't stop playing this game. For me, it was the greatest success of the last years of the Amiga, and it would have been one of many more if this computer system could have continued to evolve without being annihilated by the competition, which fiercely destroyed it, but instead brought the Windows system into our homes, which was far inferior to Amiga and would never have been able to supplant it, nor even reach its level of computing power in the 3 basic areas: graphics processing, memory, and sound. But that would be a topic for another documentary. In the end, anyone who had an Amiga in their home will always know who was the king of computing, because even Japanese factories at that time wanted them to manage their assembly lines. So, for everything I've told you, the Amiga will always be close to my heart.